Okay.
We
And
did
we're
it.
live.
We are
Hey.
live. Okay, sweet.
Oh yeah, man. So yeah, hey guys, welcome to this new Life from the Attic live stream.
Hi, Ed.
Hey. Yeah, it's kind of like a different time slot from what we're used to, but grab. For me, it's going to be a coffee because it's morning in Europe. For the other guys, it's probably maybe going to be a beer, maybe going to be a cool drink.
I'm gonna grab a pillow.
Gonna grab a pillow.
Yes.
I'm wide awake.
And yeah, let's head into this live stream on my internet. Right? Is that right? Yeah. I got Riff from Pixel Game Squad.
Hello.
He's our special guest for today. How are you feeling, buddy?
I'm great, man. It's fun. It's fun to be here. I'm having a good time watching your content, so I'm happy to be here. I've been really enjoying your stuff more than ever lately. I always say it, you and Retro Rick are kind of my go-to guys right now, so
yeah.
I feel like you guys have all every time I think of your channels, I just think of bright colors. So I'm like, ooh, it's what I like, you know.
And then below we got Greco Fabulous. How's
Old
my buddy
reliable.
doing?
Old reliable. I'm here.
With a great
I'm here for you, buddy. Yeah, this is from the now it's not in existence, but it was from Blockbuster, Alaska.
Wow.
It actually came from that location, yeah.
Is that one still going?
No.
No.
Okay. That is the way of the dodo. Is gone.
Okay, so Craig has some issues with his internet. He might be hopping up a bit later, but for now,
you probably shouldn't be airing that live to everyone. That keep that at home. Sorry, I'm confusing you already.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Greg already. So yeah,
correct.
Yeah, none of the retro channel is supposed to be here, so he might drop by a little bit later if Wi-Fi allows it or another internet connection. Obviously, the main topic that we're going to start off today is bringing retro hunting life to YouTube, whether it be with a high production show or just you and your cell phone going at it. Yeah, and today we have the perfect guest for that. We got Greco Fabulous, who's been doing it since 2013. I don't know how long have you been uploading, game hunts and retro hunts on YouTube, Riff?
About around the same time, I think. I think it started around that sometime with our old channel, then took like a year and a half, much needed break, and then now back at it. And now I'm in a weird situation too, because I kind of do both. I do like the basic cell phone videos, and I also do the high production NesPursuit. So whatever you want to chat about, let's chat. Hello, chat, by the way.
Yeah, we got lots of people in the chat already. Ooh, they're already going to head into POC conversations. Do you like POCs? Because people are trying to turn this into like the best POC cast ever.
There's a lot of competition out there, but I think we can pull through.
I like that. Look at everybody excited in there. Hello, Mr. Burns. Ooh, nice image picture, by the way.
Ooh, yeah, Technodrome.
Yeah. All right. What's going down? What's the meat of this? I'm excited.
Yeah. So, obviously, my question to you guys is, what made you want to bring retro game and retro toy hunting over to YouTube, and why did you choose to do that in the format that you started out with first, and then maybe later on we'll get into how that changed over the years.
Who's first?
Yeah, maybe let's hear from Greco first.
All right, let's hear it, Greco.
Yeah.
All right, worst for first. That's so with me. So even though now I'm doing vintage toys and that kind of live hunting, my hobby kind of started with comic books, and I think if you watch like my original videos, I didn't really do the whole live hunting thing to start off with. Like I think I just randomly fell into some other channels at the time, not even like high profile channels, so I'm not really sure how it got like put in front of me, but I just saw this whole kind of like hidden community that I just didn't have eyes and visibility on beforehand, and I was like, this is awesome. Like I can it was like a relationship of convenience where like, maybe at the time where, I had a few close friends like geographically, but, we were all kind of doing different things, and it was getting like harder and harder to kind of like come together and, discuss our hobbies and just have that active friendship. Whereas YouTube was like always there whenever you wanted to tune in. So you can, and people would like fall in and out, and it was something that would just work. Like it's not something you had to,
Yeah.
like you could kind of be like a lazy friend, and it kind of worked out. But it definitely expanded my universe as far as like having this whole new crop of people
Yeah.
that I could kind of be exposed to and develop relationships with. So it started with that, and I saw people where were making videos, and I was like, and I that's what I went to school for, was like a production kind of video production
Oh, nice.
background. And as far as like a day in day out job, it lent itself more to like the corporate world, so it wasn't as exciting and creative, unfortunately. So it was kind of like killing two birds with one stone, where it reopened this passion for initially comic books for me, but also in the way I decided to create my videos. It can kind of be an outlet for that creativity.
Yeah.
So it kind of went from there. And then, as all hobbies go, there's ebbs and flows, and you kind of lose interest, you gain interest. And now I'm way more involved in the vintage toys, retro gaming to an extent. And now the mold that I like to follow is, I like to bring people alongside with me on these journeys, and so they can kind of live vicariously, because that's what I want to see as a viewer. And the channels that kind of brought that to my eye were like, the Game Chasers and Pat the NES Punk with his flea market madness videos. Like those are the ones that I like. I like to see the live negotiations, people, that first person kind of point of view. And that's kind of what I wanted to replicate in my area. That's kind of what I strive to do now.
Nice. Yeah, it's awesome. I'd say for me, I remember watching a lot of channels, and I'd say I always had a passion for retro video games, but I like my passion really grew when I watched a lot of like the cell phone style videos. But I'm sure at the time, I don't think it was necessarily cell phones. It was, more janky cameras. I really watched a lot of those channels, which is weird because it's kind of a sad thing, because I can't remember their names now. It's little channels that were never that big. They would just show themselves game hunting, poking around, some little edits here and there that were kind of like, early days of YouTube editing. And I think that really grew my passion for like watching people game hunt and kind of collect other things that I was collecting. But like you guys, it was like once I saw channels like the Game Chasers, and also I think I really was inspired by the production of the Game Chasers, but I was inspired by the personalities of the retro hunters. And that was where I was like, oh, these guys, the Game Chasers, are like what kind of show I want to do. But these guys, the retro hunters, are like a lot like me. So I was like, I feel like I'm like that mix of like, I could do, something like this. And that's, I think, where, again, I've said it before in other things, just sitting there with Ricky on the couch. And I was like, bro, are we going to do this? Like, let's just do it. He's like, but how? I'm like, I'll just take care of it. And nothing's changed. I take care of everything. Darn it, Ricky. But yeah, and since then, man, it's been a wild ride. YouTube has been a really wild ride, especially the game hunting scene.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
For me, it was like first time I got like really into retro gaming about maybe 12 years ago. I saw like, I was like, looking up stuff like which NES games should I be looking out for, and it got me to AVGN. Then I found Pat, True AVGN, found the Flea Market Madness videos, and then they did like the Video Game Years, which featured the Game Chasers. Cool. So there I found Game Chasers, and then I started looking out for shows like Game Chasers.
Yeah.
And you guys popped up with the NesPursuit Retro Liberty.
Nice.
And also like at the very end, like the end card would say, inspired by Retro Hunter. Yeah. So I looked up Retro Hunters, and it's like awesome. Like when they did like, the, all right, G1s, let's go for it. Let's go and pick up this. I was like, what the hell is a G1? Because like I'm in Belgium, so it's like Yeah. Transformers wise, I know what that is, but is that a reference to Transformers, or is it just like Generation 1 gamers?
It was a thing where people on Screw Attack, they would call certain people G1s, and they just got on Screw Attack.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why. And then, which was funny because Screw Attack reached out to me on the very first episode, and they were like, "Hey, we see something happening here." Even other channels, like right away, like pretty early, like Cadicarus, which is a huge channel now, which I always think is funny. I just remember this one guy always DMing me privately, always trying to get my attention. And finally, I'm like, who is this guy that keeps trying to get my attention? And it's this little known channel, well, with like 100 subscribers, Wood Hawker, of a channel called Beat 'em Ups. And he's like, I make videos, like, let me please watch them. And we became friends and stuff and all that jazz. So it's funny. But it's been a weird, YouTube is a weird ride, man. It's a weird, like you said, up, down, up, down, up, down. Hey, I'm going to get huge. Oh, wait, I'm going to get nowhere. Oh my gosh, my channel's going to go viral. Oh, okay, nobody cares, you know?
But yeah, it's always with ups and downs, I guess. I've been doing it like the least years out of the three of us, I think.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like finding out about those channels, and then I was like, I needed like my retro hunting fix each week. So I started looking at stuff like just people with their cell phone, like really terrible quality, no structure in there or anything. Just like people uploading, I found this, and then not even showing what they found. And you would see like gigantic lots of NES games and stuff. It's like, yeah, this was a great thing, but they wouldn't like show everything. And it was like kind of frustrating as well. But then you found channels like CJR, which actually did a great job. Video Game Sellers, Scott Squatch, he did an awesome job doing the garage sale and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it probably took like 4 years, because at first my idea was, hey, I'm going to do a show like Game Chasers, but apply it to my band and, you know, have like a on and off reality show in that thing. And then my band like kind of went away, the band stuff. So I was like with my buddy Renzo, who still helps out today. He was like, yeah, maybe we should do like, you know, a retro gaming channel on YouTube. And most of it was like, yeah, you're never going to be able to do that. It's not going to be good enough, you know? So it was kind of like a dare. Okay, you need to like do it then if you're going to keep talking about it. Because I was talking about it to him for like 2 years. We should do this. We should do this. And then I started out, and like the thought I had was, I'm okay speaking English. So it could, you know, appeal to a bigger audience than just Belgium if I were to do it in Flemish. And then we just kind of like started doing it totally from scratch, because I had like no idea how to edit videos and stuff. So yeah, but I did try to go for a little bit of a more prepared video. I do think. So yeah. Yeah, that's basically like why I started with it, because I really wanted to bring, you know, the adventure of it. It's always been more of the thrill of the hunt, and trying to bring that in a structured way to the screen than just, you know, pick up videos. Yeah. And I guess trying to separate myself from different channels on YouTube is because I'm doing it from mainland Europe.
Got it.
Kind of like Wood did from Australia with the Game Quest, which was really cool.
Good old.
So yeah, that's kind of like my beginnings with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, as I say, that's and it's not something that I definitely haven't perfected my craft by any means, but I mean, as far as the whole storytelling aspect of these hunts, that's really something that I'm trying to, you know, always trying to fine tune and you know, show more than tell. Because as a viewer, that's you know, when I first got introduced to YouTube, a lot of the channels that I was watching that I, you know, at least initially had interest in were a lot more show and tell kind of videos, where it'd just be, you know, a lockdown shot on somebody and being like, oh, here's what I picked up, and especially with starting off with comic books, like it got a little repetitive on a channel by channel basis. Yeah, I mean, some people would differentiate themselves with their personalities and whatnot, but especially if you're talking like newer purchases and less vintage stuff, everybody was pulling the same comic books every week. It's not like somebody came, they were getting anything different really. So then when I kind of ventured on to the vintage hunting channels, that's the ones where, I mean, you could open up entire eras
Oh, for
of
sure.
product and toys and just nostalgia that completely forgot about, and that's what really like brought up that passion within me and made those connections that I lost from childhood, and that's where the pure excitement really came from, and really kind of changed the destiny of my channel as far as like what I wanted to pursue and show people, and that kind of thing. So that's what I strive to do, especially nowadays, is just really like get the entire, capture the entire story. Don't depend on just kind of like rehashing it verbally. Like you don't want to be like an oral storyteller necessarily. You want to show it. It's all about the visuals.
Yep.
And when I first started off, that always wasn't the easiest thing for me. You definitely had to get over that kind of uneasiness, and like, for me, like when I started off, I was strapping like a GoPro to like my backpack to kind of capture the live footage, because I want to be able to like live in the moment and not necessarily do it through like a handheld camera or something, or at least something a little more inconspicuous. And I just remember walking into a flea market the first time with that on. I thought like I was gonna be like arrested on the spot, or like something like, just like, people are gonna like raise all these eyebrows, like, what are you doing? Like, and it just it's something that you had to get comfortable with. Yeah. So, but like once I started making that a regular part of my repertoire, and some people would ask questions, and but eventually, like, people, like, it's almost like second nature nowadays, especially if you do it like at a convention. Like, everybody has a camera.
Convention, that's for convention for sure. Like us, we face a little bit of looks, because I do use a pretty good sized DSLR. It is on a little bit of a rig. It does have a shotgun mic with a furry cat on it. But I remember when I went with the game chasers and filmed with them at one of our swap meets, and Billy's like, "Hey, hold the camera for this shot and stuff." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, it's like, I mean, it's like this. It's like everybody's like, "What are you doing? Don't film me." You know what I mean? I'm like, this is I'm like, I don't know how you guys get away with using this all the time. In California, people are not as stoked for us to be poking around with them, as not as laid back as I guess is Texas. Yeah. I like some of these questions in here.
Yeah, I like this one. As channels get bigger, do you feel you're more or less connected to the larger collecting community?
Oh, my channel doesn't grow, so I just plateaued.
Wow.
But I'm still having fun.
And how is that in relation to this question? Is plateauing good for the community, or?
I don't know. Yeah, let's relay it back to the question here. More or less connected. I feel more connected. I feel like even though, like, again, I haven't hit some like astronomical like level of success, like I've definitely met a lot of cool people along the way. So I guess quality over quantity would be the expression here.
Yeah. There's a way to stay connected with the community as you get bigger. I've had, a great run of YouTube both times around, done pretty well both times around with different channels, different things, even other things that aren't even this show. We have other gaming channels for kids that like grow 5 times faster than any of this stuff. But you can stay connected to your community. But the sad truth is, I know there are a lot of people who don't stay connected to their community. I will definitely not drop names on that. But I've seen people change. I go to a lot of conventions. I hang out behind the scenes with all of these people, all of these big retro people, quote unquote. And you can see the guys when people aren't around that are definitely connected to the community. And you can just tell just from the way they converse with people, the way they talk with you, versus the people who are just like, I just want to keep doing this for a living. You know what I mean? And I think those are the people who kind of lost touch with community and lost touch with why they necessarily started doing this and why they enjoyed it so much. I know it's become a career for a lot of people, which is awesome. But I think the coolest is when I see the people that can make it a career, but still, you can still see the backbone of how much they love the community and how much they support the community, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got that sense when I met Ed for the first time that he really just wasn't interested in engaging with his fans.
Yeah, Ed does it for the money.
Yeah, I mean, he kept just showing his Google AdSense account. I'm like, all right, we get it, buddy. Like,
remember right before we hit live, he said, "I hate everybody that watches the streams," and then he said, "Okay, we're live." I'm just kidding.
Like quote unquote. It was just.
Yeah. I like to get all my guests rallied up when I go live.
What else are people saying here? I like to talk to the people. Thank you for the question, 123 Gamer Man.
Yeah, I guess for me, like, it's the way I'm growing now is very fun. Community wise, because the community gets bigger on my channel, the audience, and yeah, it just shows more differences in what people are into, you know? So it's definitely a good thing for me. Okay, so we get some more questions, like
BC,
what are your thoughts on catalog collecting and the best way to display or store? I have no clue what that means.
I always wonder, I've heard the word catalog collecting a million times and I've never actually like understood what it actually meant. The best way to display or store. I mean, I guess he's basically saying the second part of the question is easy to answer. What's the best way to display or store stuff? I think it's funny because everybody has different ways.
What are the most important principles of retro toy display?
Oh, that's part of the same question. I feel like part of the same thing. Yeah. The most important, I mean, I'll go since I'm already thinking about it. I've done like the crazy display where everything's just everywhere and it's a wild madness. And I've gone to organized chaos. And then for me personally, where I'm at now, I have come to my favorite place of way I've ever had anything displayed, which is very like sleek, accessible, kind of like sexy a little bit, like making everything like, if you're going to play this system, you're going to feel like you're in the world of Super Nintendo. If you're going to play this system, you're going to feel like you're in the world of the arcades, you know? Or if you're going to play with my toys, it's going to be like bright green walls and crazy colors. That's kind of how I have. But then again, I also have like 4 separate game room storage areas. So, but I think for me, my favorite is like the sleek, simple, sexy. But I do like other styles. You guys have different styles too of the way you display stuff and store stuff. So let me hear about it.
Yeah, Greco, what do you think is the most
important?
I
mean, I've mentioned this on these live chats before. Like, unfortunately, I don't have the environment that's conducive to the collection that I've amassed. So I guess I'm still waiting for that unveiling as far as like what I can actually make out of all these purchases and finds that I've gotten along the way. So right now I'm kind of just piecemealing things where, I mean, I kind of joked about it before where I literally got rid of like a dresser full of clothes just so I could build another shelf for like toys, which is, something you want to do as you get older, the important stuff in life. So I think just right now it's for me, it's just about working within the available space and my environment. And I would love to have that like that OMG factor, like people walk into like, oh, this is where the magic happens. Like I would love to have that moment someday. Just to know just to realize what I've been doing with my life for the past few years. Because you don't really have that sense until you like really have everything out there. But for now, like I think just I definitely want it to be a visual experience and less of less. I want the wow factor to come from like select items that are either like on the rare side or colorful or something that has a connection to me from childhood. That's what I want. I want kind of like a splatter paint of my collection that your senses are just like drawn all over the place. So that's kind of what I would like to work towards. But again, I feel like I'm a little restricted right now just because of what I have available to me.
Yeah, I think that's important too. What you said is like, you can only make it look a certain way if you have the capability to make it look a certain way. You know what I mean? If you're living in a studio apartment too somewhere, it's not like you can be like, all right, here's my 10 walls dedicated to each era,
I've gone over to a couple of really cool collection rooms.
Yeah, you have.
But my my take on this question is got to be display it in a way that makes you happy when you look at it.
Well, and
just have fun displaying,
Yeah.
Play as you display. Yeah.
Rob Stannard said IKEA display shelves $60. So that's an option.
I have IKEA all over.
Oh, that's right. You are living in IKEA world, right?
Yeah, I mean it's easy in Belgium to get that stuff. So
Greco Game Squad says hello, you sexy people.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for noticing.
trying to keep everything sexy and shelved over here, right? Retro CQ asks, would it be great to see a movie come out depicting toy game comic collectors? What would be your input if a director contacted you? Riff.
I've done kind of some talks with people like this before. A couple years ago, I was interviewed by CNN about game collectors. And I don't know, I would want to make sure that it's interesting, because if you would have posed this question 10 years ago, maybe pushing a little bit further than that, toy collectors, game collectors, comic collectors were depicted a very different way than we are nowadays. It's kind of cooler now to be who we are. It's not, if they would have depicted us in a movie 15 years ago, we would be the dweebs getting picked on, per se. So I would almost tell them to depict us who we are, but I wouldn't want them to be like, well, now that it's really cool, they're going to make us like super cool and like almost like I don't know what's the word for it. Like people that are like, I guess, pushing too hard to be cool. I don't want them to make us like uber cool or uber dorks. I just want to be like, hey, we're just normal. Like, we're just normal people. Some of us collect comics like Greco, and some of us collect toys, and some collect video games, but we're just normal people with families, with wives, girlfriends, husbands, whatever. I don't know. I would just say, keep us normal. Don't make us like extreme one way or the other,
Do you feel like 15 years ago, it was still kind of like this thing where it seemed like everybody kept it hidden away that they do the toy collecting, because it was kind of like a dorky thing, but then with like the whole retro bubble exploding, it was more like a lifestyle, actually.
Yeah.
Like now it is a lifestyle, and there's lots of geeky stuff out there. I mean, the blockbusters in movie theaters are based on the stuff that we watched when we were kids.
Yep.
It's more accessible. Every Marvel comic book has been put into production for blockbuster movie, Transformers, all that stuff. So I mean, Big Bang Theory is probably also in with that.
Do you guys? I'm curious. I know I went through this, and I hate to admit it, but I remember when certain things in retro started to get cool, or like they started to get hip and like trendy, and like there was part of me where when people be like, oh yeah, bro, like I love Mario and this and that, and I'm like, they'll say that on like Facebook or something, right? And in my head, I'm like, shut up. Like, I knew you in high school and you made fun of that crap. You know what I mean? Like, you were the guy that would tell us we're dorks because we played that. Don't all of a sudden, because it's cool, be like, oh yeah, bro, I'm a huge Sonic fan. Like, I can't wait for the Genesis Mini. I'm like, can you? Are you really excited? Or are you just saying you're excited? I don't know. I've always struggled with that. Like the people that jumped into it now that it's cool,
No, yeah, I can see that. I'm trying to think of specific examples. Maybe I was that guy. No. I like Sonic.
Yeah.
No, I can't think of any specific. I mean, that definitely exists. And it's one of those things where I've always been. I definitely don't want to make like levels of fandom. I get what you're saying though, but I don't want it to turn, because it's the good and bad sides of communities. I've definitely experienced. When I first got into YouTube, just kind of circling back to that, there was the kind of like the old boys school that was like already doing it for a while, and especially like in the comic book community. And they were kind of like riding high, and they didn't love the injection of new blood. Where I've always been like super accepting of like people that want to try it and make content and just be a part of it more so. And it's and I guess I get a little worried about just coming off about being any kind of like uninclusive in any way.
Of course,
because I feel like there's definitely, and I'm not saying that's like what you were getting at by any means.
Of course.
But I just there's
well, so you were a comic book guy, so I'm guessing you're a superhero guy, or you've always been a superhero guy, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So when all of a sudden Marvel and all these things became the most popular things in the world, basically, did you notice like anybody who, or people jumping into your world? Again, we're not saying not be inclusive or anything, but I'm saying, did you see the opposite where like you saw people talking about it, all excited that you're like, I feel like this guy would have made fun of me in high school if I would have told him I liked comic books and superheroes. That was more what I was saying, is I saw a lot of people like that, like, well, it's hip now, so I like it too. You know what I mean?
No, and I definitely get that. Once it became way more mainstream, it seemed like everyone kind of, got the kind of green light to like latch onto it, and like, oh, I've always loved like, Spider-Man and all that stuff. So, I definitely agree with you. When you're saying it like that.
What about you, Ed?
I don't feel like that has happened.
Good. Okay.
Over here, though. I guess my answer to the question would be, like my input would be like how it is a lifestyle, but one that matches, like just for anybody, obviously. Like I'll have my little daughter coming along to flea markets. I have my dedicated room where I do, the vlogging stuff, because like not everybody YouTubes, but I feel like a lot of people that are into the collecting like to log it.
Yeah.
Like whether it be in a pickup form or just, show stuff or do history videos about it. It all works out. And I guess like that would be my input, like how it is a lifestyle and everything that fits within that. So
got it. I think for me, maybe it's too, because I live in California. There's a lot of there's a different vibe out here.
Really? Yeah.
It's a lot of people jumping onto what's cool. That's in California. Okay. It's like almost passion isn't what's important. It's like what's cool, what's hip for the moment being, So
so I don't think I ever actually like responded to the question itself, but I would say, just avoid the stereotypes and the archetypes of what, like a nerd or, people that collected, supposedly is. Because even nowadays you would think that like things have progressed long enough where, obviously they're not, people aren't hiding anymore. People, it's not the minority. Like if anything, like it's way more, mainstream and popular than not being into some form of like pop culture.
Yeah.
But like you still get like semblances of it, like if like a local news station like covers like, oh, Comic-Con's in town, and you kind of have like these like rigid like field reporters that are like, oh do you dress up? Like that's always like the question, like cosplay.
Yeah, they don't know what to ask actually.
And that doesn't mean I don't think it's hilarious when they do depict us as dorks and nerds. I love it. I think it's hilarious. Don't get me wrong. Comic book guy in The Simpsons is the greatest person. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
No, I mean, it does. You can't go completely in the opposite direction either. You can't just make everybody like Joe Camel cool guy. Yeah. There's obviously things that stemmed from somewhere. But I will say, like, I mean, I do, Ed, not to like pump your tires, but I think you're totally like breaking the mold. Like I think you're like just like the amount of like things your life touches, like you got this collecting thing, the YouTube thing, you have a family, you're like a rock star, like you're like you're, you know what I mean? And I'm sure like
I know what you're
from your
saying.
hero.
And I'll be honest with you guys, we kind of heard when we first came on the scene, we definitely, I think, stood out. And I don't know, not even saying that's a good or a bad thing, but we definitely got a lot of comments like, oh, you guys aren't the typical what we see with like, well, what they would say, the truth be told, nerds, and we would hear that like, oh, you guys aren't typical nerds. And, because Ricky and I came to the scene, like we were very well groomed. We were very clean. We had wives and our kids were in the video. We're like, hey, like, we're not going to cuss. Like, we're going to smile. And we talked about our church and our regular jobs, So I think like it was more like we kind of touched on a lot of things.
More connectable for the audience.
Yeah. And it was cool. And I think that's important for Ricky and I. We always made it a point too. Ricky and I were like, okay, we have our beliefs in the world. We have our thoughts, what we believe in the world, but let's make it a thing that where we never judge people on the show. We never treat them different. We never treat fans different. I don't care what they look like, what they believe, what they're anything. Like, we're all here because we love video games and toys. So it kind of came like, a big important thing for us. And we get a lot of really cool private messages, stuff you wouldn't expect. And it's just weird things where it's like, whoa, like this impacted things differently. I don't know if you guys saw one of the NES Pursuits like a month and a half ago where we talked to a guy named Archon, and his wife's wish was for us to see her, and she passed away, and it was all this big long thing, and they would watch us while they were in the hospital bed together. And even Gabbo on the show now, I mean, that's how we found Gabbo, is he was a fan of the show, and his grandma and his aunt would watch us while they were dying of cancer because they said it made them laugh, and they didn't even speak English. So crazy stuff. And that's why it's like, sometimes I take a step back and go, I don't think I could ever leave YouTube, because it's, you can do some really cool things just being who we are. You know what I mean? So it's been really cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. I've been getting like lately, like the past 3 months, I've been getting like weekly a couple of people just private messaging me like how they like the show, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Gotta say that. Yeah. It's something I didn't expect to happen. Like, you'll get like people from Denmark, from Australia commenting on your videos, but also just private messaging.
It makes you want to keep going, You're
yeah,
like,
definitely.
Right.
Those are the comments that really.
It's like, I don't care if this video gets no views. That touched 2 people. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's also it's not just them being on their YouTube profile typing something in. It's them taking that time out of their day to actually write a pretty big message in private and send it out. Because like, I'm still very accessible. I think most YouTubers are actually, like, definitely when you reach out to them, there's no like rock star stuff going on, or at least not for the most people that are
they're
in the retro game community.
I mean,
they're
out there.
They're out there, but
if anybody messages me, I'm blocking them. So I'm just putting it out
I actually
there.
saw. I think it was Spruch asked in here a little bit ago. He said that like he can't. It's like so hard when you see a big YouTuber, which is fine, with like no replying, no interaction, nothing, like almost like
not even like the hearts in the comments.
You don't exist, You know who used to always do that was AVGN, but I've noticed him kind of poke around a little bit more and be a little bit more audience friendly. I've noticed that.
But how do you control that? Because I saw Snazdrunk.
Yeah.
He posted like this thing like where he did like a really long intro now, because everybody seems to comment I don't like the intro. So he did like a review that was like extra 6 minute long.
Oh, that's funny.
And then like 1 minute review of a racing game, and everybody like the comments went crazy, and he's like, yeah, I do this for fun. I didn't expect to get, like 600 comments within the first 8 hours on each video, and then also having more than 100 comments each day on all the other ones. Try keeping up with that. I can kind of get that, and definitely for AVGN.
I just think, like he was saying, it's like even just like 1 or 2, like that'll take what, 20 seconds?
Definitely.
And I've seen it, where people just spam thanks. Even I know that's lame, but
at least you're getting a reply.
Well, and as a human being, both of you guys, if you left a comment on, let's say, AVGN's video, and all you got back was a thanks, you'd be like, sweet, cool,
Definitely.
Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
And there are people who still look at, whoever their favorite, it could be Greco, it could be Ed, it could be me. Some people do want just even that simple thank you. I remember when I wanted it out of channels, and I'm like, ooh, I got it. And it's not even much, But it's like, that's why I think that it's okay to give a little something, even if you're huge. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I definitely make it a point to respond to pretty much every single comment. And again, even if it's not a scenario where it necessarily needs like a typed out response, I'll still try to muster up something, just because I enjoy the engagement, as much as I'm sure people enjoy, sending it out. And I want to, give people the incentive, like, hey, if you reach out to me, I'm actually gonna, respond to you and possibly have a dialogue. Like,
Yeah.
Because again, like how you were saying, you could have, tons of views, but it's more about the comments and the interaction that actually means something to you and value.
Yeah.
Same with me. Like I could have tens of thousands of views on a video, but in comparison, get like 20 comments, and I was like, it doesn't do as much for me.
Yep, I am with you. Ed, you got more comments for us, sir?
Yeah, I had one asked like, how big is toy collecting in Europe compared to the USA? Which is more for me, obviously. I do think like toy collecting isn't as big as retro game collecting right now. So we're still in that kind of phase where if you go out to a flea market or garage sales, you can't actually pick up lots.
Or can't?
You still can.
Oh,
so
can.
It used to be like that 10 years ago for, games where you could go out to a flea market and be like, okay, how much for the lot? Or they would just offer the lot to you. That still happens with vintage toys now because there are collectors out there, but either they're not going out to flea markets anymore because they already have all of the loose toys. It's just smaller. There's less competition vintage toy wise than there is retro gaming wise, definitely. So yeah, what's the best way to find childhood collection lots to purchase? Just go to garage sales, obviously, and be a nice person. Connect with if you feel like, if you see like signs of what is out there that connects, oh, they must have had kids in the early 90s, late 80s, just check and leave your number,
enjoy the hobby.
How do you feel like toy collecting is in the USA? I've only been to the USA for like 10 days in the past 6 years, so I honestly don't know. It feels like it is big because there's so much stuff getting released, like the reissue stuff, like the Transformers, the Turtles, the Ghostbusters. Now it seems to be huge.
Yeah, toy collecting for us is we've always picked up toys, but I'd say we more in the past year and a half, 2 years started collecting them. Which I guess I can't really gauge. The scene is hard because the stuff that I want isn't probably the grails or gems at this point. It's more of like, it's like when you first start collecting for NES or Super Nintendo, anything, you're like, sweet, I can pretty much pick up anything and I don't have it. You know what I mean? So I think for us right now, we're not deep enough in to really gauge like the scene of like the hardcore collectors. That'd be more like Secret Game Stash, which I know you guys had on, he'd be a better for answer that for us. But for us, for toys, I don't experience much competition because I'm still in the stages of getting pretty much everything. Oh, guys, hey, we got to block somebody. Retro Rick's in here.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, buddy, this isn't for you.
I like that guy.
All that talk before about being inclusive, it applied to everyone but Retro Rick.
Oh, yeah, not Retro Rick. Not Retro Rick.
Come on, we love Retro Rick.
No, he's awesome. Always. I said it. Yeah. I said in the earliest, you and Retro Rick were my boys.
That's so so out of this world to hear, buddy. Because I mean, like, you're one of the reasons I'm doing this. So thanks so much for being on.
It's weird when people say that though, because I've talked to a lot of channels that and Chase After the Right Price. He's another one I watch all the time.
Yeah,
and he said the same thing. He's like, you're the reason I started. And I'm like, bro, stop it. Like, I'm blushing, I'm like, stop. Tell me more. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, it was the same thing with Greco. Like, I had been looking up, it was that special time in YouTube when you guys went away with Retro Liberty.
Yeah.
And Game Chasers wasn't just outputting enough content.
Yeah.
So I started looking up, come on, there's got to be like other
I need a fix
channels that do this. And I found stuff like Cartridge Crusaders. I don't know if you've seen those guys. They only have like 6 episodes, but it's pretty good. It's pretty well done. It's too bad they didn't really pursue that. And then on a Reddit, I found Greco Fabulous.
Oh, Greco.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I'm newer to Greco. I only not too long ago, and I'm pretty happy already too, because you have the vibes that I like, which is basically a collector who can't stop collecting. So
wait, I'm trying to Ed, should I take that as a backhanded compliment that you only were interested in me when a bunch of other channels just were like on hiatus? Is that what I'm getting from?
That's exactly what he said.
No, you're You're trying to Greg the compliment I'm trying to give you here.
That's why I don't have friends.
No, it hadn't popped up in my recommendations yet, but Spidey Sense and all that stuff that was like, oh, this guy is good. Like the production, it was definitely what I was looking for, and it was more like toy based as well, so it really tied in with what I was trying to find out information about. So yeah, and then I met you like in real life.
Where'd you guys meet? In Texas?
Yeah.
Through the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Wow, I like that.
So yeah, I'm still hoping I get to meet you once.
Look, I told NES Addict to share the video, and he already said he did it. Dang, just like that. Hey, thanks, Jay. Do you guys watch NES Addict by any chance? If you don't, he's a cool dude. Yeah, he doesn't have out a lot of stuff, but he's a rad dude.
He is. He has, but he like the stuff he does have.
Yeah,
like he just released like top 5 things in my room.
Yeah,
like it's insane.
Yeah, he's got cool stuff.
He also has like the cups you found, right?
Yes, he does.
The little cup dispenser.
He
Mario wise, yeah,
he inspired me to get him. I'm not gonna lie. And I gotta go. He was in an NesPursuit video when I went to South Carolina.
Yeah, man.
And I was this close to moving to South Carolina after all that. Until I got a good promotion.
It was with Russ Lyman as well, right?
Yeah, Russell E. Slyman.
Russell E. Lyman.
Russ is so nice, dude. He's such a nice guy.
He is. Also, Pop Punk, dude.
Yeah, dude. He did that. His last little music video. It was rad.
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I love his guitar as well. He did like a custom. Yeah, is it a Tom the Long Strat? I'm not sure, but
Russ
looks freaking cool, man. Like the stuff he does customization wise. Check out his channel on his car.
I wouldn't be surprised if he groomed his body hair to be something gaming related.
Probably. So 123 Gamerman asks, what's the most positive or negative reaction you got when someone saw your collection for the first time? So this is not like a comment, but when people end up in your collection room, I think.
Yeah. You guys can
Greco?
Well, I mean, so again, not to play the poor me card, but this is literally like one side of my bedroom. So not a lot of people are walking through that door other than my wife. So I'm not getting a lot of reactions from the public. But her general reaction, yeah, I mean, her general reaction, again, she's totally fine with it. She does have, she thinks this whole YouTube thing is a little weird, to be honest.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, so that she's not kind of like buying in on. But as far as like collecting, she's totally fine with it as long as there's not like a double standard in terms of like having funds for things she's interested in. Because her thing is always like, there always seems to be toy money, but anytime I want to buy something, we have to like analyze the spreadsheets and check our balances and forecast how it's going to affect our lives for the next 6 months. So I got to work on that. But no, yeah, for the general public, it's not really a thing for me right now. But in the house, that's kind of how it plays out.
Very cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember having people over here, and like the weirdest one was like somebody got really uncomfortable with like what is all this stuff, and he's like, yeah, it's cool. And he like walked away back downstairs. So I was like, it was kind of like
I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, it's like
looking for the bathroom.
Most people that end up here do I'm into it, and they're just like going crazy, like, oh, you have this stuff, you have that stuff. I remember this is the first time I'm seeing this thing in like 20 years.
Got it. Yeah,
so those are the fun ones. Negative, never, because I only hang out with cool people, I guess. How about you, Riff?
For me, when I had more of like I wouldn't call it clutter, but I guess that's just the word that comes to mind, more cluttered layout. I feel like people were like, this is cool, but they weren't impressed. But since I've had this finished, like I know you can't really see it. I'm using a webcam instead of my normal angle, so you can't see it. But like my really like sleek looking layout with specific toys, specific arcades, I definitely see people get super nostalgic, people who don't like video games are like, this is really cool. This is like, I got couches, I have chairs, I have places to sit. There's plenty of room. There's air conditioning. There's windows. Like people are like, this makes them feel good. So I've definitely noticed a much better response being in here. I've only had like one or two like kind of negative experiences. And remember, I live in Newport Beach, California, where I'm very blessed to live where I live. But a lot of the people that live around me are like, how do I say this without getting in trouble? Really wealthy white women. and, you know, and they're like, oh, like this is kind of nerdy, you know, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like you go home and be miserable. I'll be here playing my video games, you know? So yeah, that's me saying it without getting in trouble. I'm watching Retro Rick and NES Addict talk about all their wives. It's making me laugh. Anyone who has wives and has this hobby or addiction, as we want to call it, let's we can all nod our heads in agreement that it's not always our wife's favorite things. Seems like you have a healthy appreciation for the merch before. That was awesome. Okay, sorry, I was reading something. Wait, we got some other comment. Or go ahead. What's this say? Retro Days, Pixel Game Squad seems you guys have a healthy appreciation for merch now. Merch that you may have been before your time. That's awesome. Yeah, for merch, that's all Mikey. I think that's what he's saying. We have a social media guy now. I'll be honest. I said this before. I'm sure you guys know it at this point, but I haven't. January 4th of this year was 3 years. You can call it 3 years sober. No social media. I haven't seen Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of that in over 3 years. Best decision of my life. Literally the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. Not to have social media. So I hired a social media guy, Mikey, who's on the show. He takes care of social media, merch, websites. All the posts you see are me, you know, filming things, saying it, but I send it to him, tell him what to post, and then he posts it and does everything. And it has changed my life not having social media. It's weird.
I'm curious, like what kind of went into that decision, if you can divulge.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it's kind of around the time that Retro Liberty went away. I was just, like the rest of the world, let's be honest, like the rest of the world, so involved in looking at my phone and looking at everything, just this and that. I'd be at the park and my kids would be playing for 30 minutes. Then I'm looking up and I'm like, I've been on my phone for 30 minutes instead of playing with my children who are growing up rapidly, you know? And it would genuinely, like, I'll be honest, it kind of pissed me off. Like that, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm letting, it'd be those nights as a parent, kids, you never have those days where you wake up and you're like, my God, they really are growing up quick. And I'm going to miss it when they don't want to snuggle me or call me daddy or want to be with me, So I'm like, I need to be present. And same for my wife. I wanted to be, a better husband. And I'm just like, for me personally, I know it's not for everybody. I was like, I know social media for me is a huge roadblock. And my wife has told me, in the past 3 years and everything, she's like, we've been married for 15 years. And she's like, you've never been a better husband and never been a better father. She's like, that you've been the top of your game for the past 3 years. Like, and it's just like, for me, it's just been like a really cool thing. And now I feel like the way I'm doing everything, I feel like I have such a healthy lifestyle. You know what I mean? With just everything feels like, I'm like, it's all working together. Like everything feels, even the channel feels better. I just feel like, I'm enjoying it more. Like I told you guys even before we started streaming, so yeah.
I feel like Tyler from My Retro Life had kind of like the same issue going on in his life at that point, because he was like, I want to like spend more time with my kids.
Yeah.
And but it's cool that we now get to see those videos on your channel,
which is funny.
There's even new ones.
And it's funny because we had like private talks. We're like, is this the place where channels go now who like couldn't serve, who didn't want to do it anymore, and then they come to this channel now? Like, this is where all the quitters go. You know what I mean? Yeah,
all the quitters.
Yeah. Also, hello everybody in the comments. I like to read them. Sorry, I'm one of those people that has like super ADD. I'm like, people are saying stuff we haven't responded yet. Hi everybody.
Hey everyone.
Hey everybody.
No, but I guess one side benefit, just kind of sticking with the family theme. Yeah. Me, I've always kind of like used my kids as I almost said props, but I guess more actors is the right terminology. And in my videos, and
that's awesome.
And it does chronicle, like when you were saying, 1 minute they're like a newborn, and then you look and all of a sudden they're 8 years old, and like basically an adult the way they speak to me. It just, and you can kind of, if you ever like, so these videos that you're making not only chronicle like your hunts and your finds and these adventures you go on, but it almost kind of like it's almost like a family
absolutely
chronology as well. Like you could see like, oh my god, like there's my daughter as a baby, whereas like sometimes a picture wouldn't do it justice, or
you're right.
Or your memory kind of fails you, like, oh, there she is.
I don't think any of us realize how cool it is for any of us, Ed, Greco, me, like when we get older, and I'm talking like older, and it's like we have like stories like to be told, like endless hours of stories that like right now in these days, I never even had grandparents growing up. They were all dead before I was born. Like I don't know anything about their past. And it's like, I couldn't imagine if I was able to like look back and be like, oh, I just found all these old tapes of them doing like their cool things. And my grandpa, he was in a dirt bikes, and oh my gosh, there's videos of him doing it and the way he used to race. And this, like, I don't get that. So it's like us generations can be like, oh yeah, great grandpa Riffy, look at, he did this, like, check this out. There's stories, like he's storied this and made it something that's like a documented thing. I always got inspired, but do you guys know who NES Complex is?
Yeah.
I've heard of him.
He's seen the videos. Yeah.
He's the YouTuber who always told me like he wants to make videos that are timeless, like that aren't just like, here's the hot topic. He was like, I want people to watch this in 30 years from now and be like, oh, like this is still important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you can go back to his videos. He did like the Nintendo Power ones too. And
those are awesome.
Yeah.
Which NES Addict in the chat, I remember he would like private messages and be like, hey, can I keep the show NES, what was it called? Time Machine, Nintendo Power Time Machine. Can it keep going? Can I make it be like the sequel to Live On? You know what I mean? Type of thing. So it's funny. He became a good buddy. Smash JT said he's an all right guy depending on the day. This is true, Smash. We love you though.
I like Smash JT. Smash he helped me out with my channel very early on. He gave me like really good feedback. So thanks for that, buddy.
Smash is where I go when I'm like having one of those days where I'm like, all right, I don't like this kind of stuff, but I need some dirty gossip on what's going on in the retro world.
He did have like a couple months where he was like really trying to dig it out, but now I feel like ever since he started doing like the car videos, it's more chilled and more like what he actually is thinking.
Yeah, I think because he's working a new job now, so he kind of, I think that kind of hurts. Once you get like if you're doing, I know so many people that do YouTube, and once you like do that full time or try to do it full time, and then you go to something else, it's almost like perspective changes. Like, is that what I wanted to do? Did I want to do YouTube that way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He said, I'm just me now. No strings attached anymore. Take it or leave it. All I know is those jacuzzi videos, though.
Yeah, sexy, right?
Very.
So you're not a good dad or husband because you have social media.
You need to take time for yourself, enjoy your hobby. Definitely don't make it time for only hobby. Absolutely, yeah. And that's why I think for me, I'll jump in. Obviously, he's talking to me about me on this one. Is that I take plenty of time to enjoy my hobby. What I was saying is I don't need the added 4 hours, 3 hours a day that I was taking. Again, that's why I said it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? I was on it too much, too excessive. So I needed to enjoy my hobby, which I still do, but I didn't need to add on 3 hours a day on top of that, more to take away from my family. You know what I mean? For me personally.
Yeah.
And I think, sorry, go ahead. You were gonna...
I try to structure it where, because my kid goes to sleep at like 7 at night. So I do have time after that to like, I'll like plan out Instagram pictures like Retro Rig does.
Yes, he's great at that.
He makes like one big photo session each month, and then he has content for the whole month. So yeah, I do like try to be social on social media when my kid is asleep, though.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I was gonna say that's always something that I've struggled with too, is trying to find that balance, because now I'm kind of in a rhythm again with my YouTube channel, and I'm trying to get back to at least like a weekly cadence of videos, because I'm getting some momentum, and that's when I've had the most, like, or at least mean, no one can predict, the YouTube algorithm or anything, but like,
Nobody.
at least that's when it seemed to, I would have the most success and visibility to some of my videos.
Yeah.
And again, I'm kind of, and it's tough because there's a lot of things tied into it. Just your availability and motivation and all this kind of stuff. Especially with like the way I want to make my videos. Like again, if I was just doing or comfortable doing show and tell, like I could pump these out like vlog style, like easy as pie. But that's not something that I want to produce necessarily. So unfortunately, like more work goes into it. And if you're not feeling creative, it's really hard to force it because I feel like that comes through in the end product. So it's one of those things where I struggle with the balance because I feel like sometimes in order to keep that momentum going, it does take away from time with family or not necessarily work, but other relationships, not just with kids, but like, my wife. And again, like what Ed said, my kids are kind of like on a schedule now where, they'll go to bed at a certain time. And then you have like a few hour window where it's like, now what do I do? Do I sit on the couch and just watch a movie with my wife or do I go ahead and start editing or you kind of have to choose your battles and I'm getting older. So it's like, man, I'm just tired and don't really want to do anything. I just want to melt into the couch.
I actually edit everything next to my wife while we're watching a movie.
Wow.
There you go. So maybe that's what I do. Just kind of throw everything into one pot and just see what comes out the other end.
Usually it's just like movies I've already seen or like reality shows she wants to see. And I'm like, what?
The Bachelor? You guys have that over there?
Yeah, but we're not into that. She's like into like the home renovating stuff.
Oh, me too.
Like the Australian.
I am doing home renovations every single weekend. My wife is huge into remodeling. I've been remodeling. So despite what people think about me, I'm very much a handyman, and I can build, I can do all that jazz and metal work and all that jazz. So it's fun.
Oh man, I'm not handy at all. I'm no home improvement Tim Allen for sure. Aaron Stacy asks, have you guys checked out Retro RGB? I've recently gotten into getting the best picture quality out of my old systems. I have no clue. I should probably ask Renzo. He's like on top of all that stuff. Do you guys have any clue what Retro RGB is?
I don't, but I'm guessing it's like some sort of upgrade thing. I'm a more basic upgrade person. Like I like the Hyperkin cables that'll just take like the Xbox. It doesn't really up-res. It just, you can put it HDMI. That's as far as I go with any sort of that stuff. I wish I knew more about it, Aaron Stacy. But yeah.
Any input on that, Greco?
I can't speak to it off the cuff here, but if you let me Google it, I'm sure I can come up with something.
No cheating, bro. You're either a real retro.
It's in your own paper.
Retro Rick asks, when do you decide starting letting go of things in your collections?
Ooh.
Doing like an remodeling of the game room, and he doesn't have enough space, so he's looking for some guidance. I think. You want to go first?
Usually, if I see something that I own in his collection, I immediately burn it, just set it on fire.
Wow, that's good. I like that.
Yeah,
I throw mine at small children. For me, if I'll jump in. Honestly, I am a very ADD collector. Besides this room, which I'm always talking about how proud of it I am. But as far as my other stuff that I collect, for me, I want to always have the excitement. And Retro Rick and I think we're going to talk about this in another video. But the thrill of the hunt for me is, I'd probably say, more fun than the actual games and toys at this point for me. So I will collect for stuff like crazy, and then I will get rid of it, either get money for it or trade it, and then thrill of the hunt something else, because I love the thrill of the hunt. I love finding it. I love searching for it. And I'm like, for me, starting to let things go, it's when I'm like, okay, I've had this in my room for 6 months and I'm just staring at it. I'm going to get rid of it and go for something that I've never gone for just to have fun. So that's kind of for me.
Yeah, for me, it's also more thrill of the hunt, but I do like completing collections. Although I will pick up stuff I'm totally not interested in at first just to try it out, obviously. And that's like the stuff I'm not sure about that will be in my collection for like a year, maybe half a year, and then I'll get rid of it if I don't like it, you know. BS Mac 1976A asks, "What's your favorite retro toy line?" Mine is obviously TMNT.
Yeah.
How about you, Riff?
Again, things always change. If I had to pick like a favorite, even though it's not necessarily my favorite toy line, it's my favorite. It was my favorite show, so I hence like the toys. Basically, Batman the Animated Series, and the only reason I say that is because when I was a kid, when my dad, there was one year where he was given, his boss gave him $1,000 for each kid, which we had 4 kids, and he said, "But you can only spend each $1,000 on whatever your kids ask for." So my dad spent one Christmas. I came home, woke up, went out of my bed, and there was $1,000 of Batman action figures, accessories, shirts, everything. And to this day, it's just been like where my heart is, because I just had such a good memory waking up. As you can imagine, a kid's dream. It was like every Batman that exists, every accessory, all the Dark Horse that came with it, and the weird Batmobiles and all this. So for me, it was like, it's like where my heart is. But right now, where I'm collecting, I'm trying to kind of get like small soldier stuff.
Oh, did he have to like show receipts? Like how far did he have to go to prove it?
I don't think he did, but his boss was just like, "You need to make this the coolest Christmas ever for your kids," and it was, for sure. It's still, I'll never forget it. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, anybody that knows me, it's no secret that G1 Transformers is my go-to. Yeah, G1. Don't come at me with that Beast Wars stuff, okay?
I like Beast Wars.
Okay, well, it was nice chatting with you. Bye.
It's like gone.
So I mean, yeah, that's my number one. But I mean, I'm, luckily, in this hobby, you don't have to choose your favorite children. So I'm surrounded by plenty of things that spark joy.
Yep.
We got some more questions in. Will you still be playing games in your 70s? I think so. Probably Tetris. Yeah.
To be honest, I feel like I'll be playing games more in my 70s, because I'll be like, well, I can't run anymore. And that's my big, I don't know if you guys know that, but I run 6 miles a day. I've been doing that for about 12 years now. I won't be able to do that. So I think games with my other passion, it's like, well, I can't run anymore. I have bionic legs. So time to sit back and play some video games. I have giant legs, dude. I've been running way too long. I'm like a freak show.
Are you actually self-conscious about it?
Kinda, but all my friends are like, "Dude, they're super strong." But I'm like, I just think they look so big that it just makes me feel awkward. Like but I wear short shorts every day of my life.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're not helping your cause here. You're
I'm always
putting them on display.
That's just part of my style.
Sprooch is asking, more directed to you, Riff. As a bigger channel, what advice can you give to us smaller guys to get over that hump to grow?
I mean, I know Sprooch enjoys what he does, so really that's really the only advice that I give, because I've learned in the past that like I used to be like, all right, well, I studied the algorithm and here's what you need to do. And then by the time they apply that, that's not what the algorithm wants anymore. I'd say do a fine mix of loving what you do, which you already know that, of course, but also follow some channels that are like, even though none of us are big fans of like the YouTube channels and what they tell us, but like the official YouTube people, there is some official YouTube, like a guy named Daryl Eves. He's a guy that I recommend. He's very up to date with what's actually happening with YouTube. And he will give you like, okay, this is the newest thing. This is what the analytics wants right now. This is what kind of thumbnails it wants right now. I'd say don't go full throttle on that direction, because then you'll just find yourself like working and it doesn't become fun anymore. It just becomes a job. So you got to kind of find that fine balance of like keeping it a hobby, but I'm also going to put some time and effort into making sure I'm keeping up a little bit with the YouTube game and kind of how to get exposed. So yeah. I
think clickbait thumbnails are very important. That'll go a long way. And
really
putting Greco Fabulous as your tag.
Yeah. That's the way to do it.
Like for me, it's like when you see like a video doing well, try doing it again.
Absolutely. I know.
Keep doing that a couple times. I
know what you're talking about, bro. The minute you said that, I already know what you're talking about. I noticed you doing it, and I was like, "Oh, Ed's on it. He knows what he's supposed to do."
Yeah, like just keep doing that. If there's an audience out there for you that will log on to it, it can only affect the algorithm in a good way for you. Now with the corona going on, it's terrible because I can't do any of the stuff that's actually working well for my channel. So hopefully,
same here. NesPursuit.
Yeah, man, it's Yeah. Like views have gone down. I mean, I'm still growing subscriber wise, but yeah, it's like we were talking about before, Greco. You're gonna do another live hunting video next week. Now I'll put you on the spot, so you have to do it.
Ooh.
Yeah, see, so one of the benefits of not having a consistent release schedule is that I have plenty of footage that I haven't edited into anything yet. So I have plenty of live hunting videos that are on the horizon if I just get in gear.
Get in the gear.
Getting in the gear.
So that'll be my path to stardom. I'll be the only one with live hunting footage during this pandemic.
Hopefully this is all over soon.
I know.
It's true. Yeah.
Please.
I mean, like in the comments we had like some of the guys say like, I miss going out to flea markets or conventions the most. It's true, man. It's just like being out with your friends and just like seeing the retro stuff. That's
just nostalgia, man. It's a weird thing. It's like almost like I mean, I know there's like a science to the way our brains think or something, but it really is, man. You see it, you feel it, and something about it is just like something in your body releases something that tells your brain like, this is nice. Like I like to be here. I like even I'll admit, as much as I love the stuff behind you, Ed, but Greco, the stuff behind you, almost all that stuff is like super up my alley, just like the logos. And that's even marketing that goes for thumbnails. That's why I'll have YouTubers like, that I'm friends with now. Gaming Off the Grid is another channel right now who they'll message me. They're like, what should I do to this thumbnail? I'm like, throw in a logo of something, because you see that logo and it's like a trigger in your brain. Like, oh, I like that. I know that's recognizable. That's something that I want to see more. You know what I mean? It just gives you like a logo, Street Fighter, Pac-Man, Pee-wee, Thundercats. You can, without even looking, you can just point out the logos in the background, because it's like, that does something to your brain. Like, oh, that's a trigger, like, recognizable, friendly. I like that. It does something for me, so yeah. Ooh, I have another tip. And I always want to tell this to small YouTubers. I'm not saying whoever asked that is a small YouTuber. I don't know what I consider small. I think everybody's whatever. But
gets the job done.
Yeah, exactly. But when you're a smaller YouTuber, I see a lot of small YouTubers title their videos. Let's say I'm brand new on YouTube, and I title my video "Riff Plays Mario 64." I see a lot of people do this, but the problem is, if I'm brand new, who the heck is Riff? You know what I mean? And a lot of people do that. It's like, as much as it sucks to hear it, but like nobody cares that Riff is playing Mario Kart. You know what I mean? Because nobody knows who Riff is at this point. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of smaller channels do that, and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong on this video. And I'm like, the reality is, if you're brand new, you've got to give it some sort of familiarity or something that someone's going to want to click on if they've never seen you. Because if I'm scrolling through my feed and I see Billy Joe plays blah, 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 I'm going to be like, I don't know who that is, and I don't really care. You know what I mean? So that's just...
Unless it's Billy Joe from Green Day.
Unless it's Billy Joe from Green Day. Shut up, Ed. Don't ruin my point.
It is true, though. You kind of have to be like specific but generic all at the same time. It's like that perfect marriage where like you want to use generic terms that people are searching for, but you in a way you kind of want to be unique enough where maybe there's not thousands of examples of people titling their videos that way.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there's not a secret sauce. And that's why, again, I think the best advice that people have spouted out here is just enjoy doing it, and then hopefully.
And sometimes channels, and sometimes straight up, as much as it sucks to hear, some channels just blow up for no reason. That's one way or the other. I think of Scott the Waz. His videos are great. But a lot of people do videos just like him and title them just like him and have just as good production or better. And he absolutely blew up in the last year, blew up, like skyrocketed. And it's like, was there a specific rhyme or reason? Not really,
It seems like he can do any topic. And he'll get like the audience for it, because that's like another thing. Like now when I do gaming related stuff, it doesn't really reach the views as much as when I do a toy related video. It's weird. Like getting back to the thumbnail thing, I had been kind of like not knowing what to do. Should I keep like my Geek Out logo on every thumbnail?
Oh, got it.
Or do I not? Because lately I just kept it off because it might be like I might have done like I might have been known for gaming videos early on, and having that logo on there would be like, okay, I'm not going to click on that. So you want your thumbnail to be either like clickbaity, where you pop stuff on there. Oh, I'm going to check this out. But I also feel like sometimes it'll reach less of my own audience because it sometimes looks so different from the other ones. Do you keep like recognizable stuff in there or not? Which is the best way to grow? I guess like making them clickbaity, or well, clickbaity is probably not the right term, but make them easily recognizable for you to click on. Yeah.
I always tell people when people are like, oh, don't use a clickbait thumbnail, you shouldn't be clickbait. I'm like, clickbait is not clickbait if the video does have that in there somewhere. Clickbait is when someone's like, the title is nothing that's even a point that's actually specifically made in the video. I said this in a Squadcast the other day. It's like I watched videos about the Xbox Series X, about the new gameplay and stuff, and there'd be people that title the video like X flop, horrible. And then you watch the video and they're like, I really liked it, but I know a lot of people didn't. And then they just move on. But it's like, that's when I'm like, okay, like you don't even believe any of the stuff you just said. You just completely wanted to put in big letters, X flop, like X fail. You know what I mean? And it's like, you don't even have that opinion in any way, shape, or form, which I'm going to admit, sorry if anybody's in here that does it, and I've probably done it here or there. I hate videos that have question marks in them when they're delivering like news. I hate it because I could title my next video anything in the world I want, and if I put a question mark, then I'm fine. I could title my next video, coronavirus is over, Trump said it, guaranteed, this date, question mark, and then I'm fine because I wasn't stating that, you know, I'm just like giving you a maybe, and I could just say in the video, like, yeah, from what I think it's going to be lifted. I think Trump's going to lift it for us this date. All right, have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye. And it's like, stop that. I watch so many videos where it bums me out when I watch those, but I know people do it. I've probably been guilty in the past, but whatever. And I know that's what he does for all his videos too.
Yeah, there's a definite line between, eye catching and clickbait. Like you said, it is, as long as you're not being misleading, but and again, I don't think that's going to lead to success. Like you might get a higher view count, but like other, analytics and metrics like watch time, like none of that's going to really add up. And that's pretty important from what I hear.
Yep.
I recently found like a couple of channels that are like flippers. They'll do like thrift store flipping or garage sale gold mine. I don't remember the names, but like they'll have videos that are like 200,000 views and stuff like that, which is insane because it's just like a guy with a GoPro walking around, and the thumbnail is like, "Don't miss out on these." And it's so flu, like it's not specific where you're like, is he referring to the weed that's there? No, he's not. Like the thing in the thumbnail isn't even like getting discussed, but you could go about it like, oh, it's just any deal he found in that video.
But it's also hard because
it's so
I've watched videos too like that are like, let's say, super clickbaity. But I admit, in the world we live in with ads and this and that and other videos being suggested every minute, we're almost like squirrels to where once I start watching it, I'll forget why I even clicked. And if they don't ever talk about it, I'm like, well, cool. I still like that video. Or maybe did or didn't like. That's, I guess, whatever. But it's like there's so much going on that I forgot what was in the thumbnail. I forgot why I clicked it in the first place. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I guess I'll just watch it for a minute and then pop out, So I don't know.
Ed number 2 asks, are there some European original toy lines? Not that I know of. Everything came from China and then went through American processing over to Europe. So, what do we have over here? Hank Vanderweert. Will next generation collecting be the same as the past, or will it be the same as movie collecting?
Ooh.
Not sure what we're...
I know what he's saying.
Yeah, then explain it to me, please.
From what I see, I guess kind of what he's saying is movie collecting is kind of like people do it, but it's pretty much like more of a dead thing. You know what I mean? Like DVD collecting and stuff like that. Because of Netflix, everything is now, games we've always said, video games we've always said, like, will someday it will be like pretty much all streamed, pretty much all downloadable. Which is what happened to movies. Movies is pretty much all streamed at this point. Everything's on a million different websites, a million different ways to watch. I feel like, video games like let's say Xbox Series X coming out, PS5, I don't think those are going to be as collected as like getting a complete NES collection will back in the day, because I think the things like Game Pass, you know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you how many times, even like going forward, where Gabo and I are like game hunting. We're like, oh, dude, I just found that game. It's here. It is. It's only $2, and we're both like, yeah, but we have Game Pass. You know what I mean? Like, I guess we don't need it. Like, do we really need it? We have Game Pass, and I feel like going forward, PS5, Xbox Series X, it's almost like, well, am I really going to care to collect this? I paid $2 for it back on a flash sale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, once you lose that physical medium, it's not. Is it even collecting anymore?
Yeah.
Unless we replace everything with hard drives, like our rooms are just going to be hard drives.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when Switch came out, like, because you remember seeing like NES games, the carts when you pop them on top of each other. At the end labels, it looks great, but imagine having like the tiny Switch cartridges in like an IKEA case. It's going to look so weird. Like, like in 20 years, it's going to be, you're a retro game collector. Where is your collection? Oh, it's huge. It's like one shelf.
I struggle with that. I know you collect a lot of Game Boy stuff, Ed, but I very much struggle. I don't know if it's like an OCD thing or just a weird mental thing. Like, I very much love big items in collections. Like, I think they look so much cooler and better, even if they're properly displayed. But like, I have like Vita games or like Switch games, and no matter how I display them or store them, when I see them, I'm like, I hate the way this looks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I personally, like, I see my Switch collection. I'm like, here we go. Here's my big Switch collection. And like, for NES, it's like, woo, look how beautiful this looks. For Switch, I'm like, all right, it's in this little case this big and it holds like 50 games, So.
Yeah. Like, I like displaying them in like the stairwell thing.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's
nail
cool.
polish display.
That might be the best way that I personally
have seen. I know Retro Rick had like these things come in that they're like tiny shelves to put on a wall.
Oh yeah,
they're like only like 1 centimeter wide or something like that. And now Greco's gonna be like, keep it metric.
How many inches is that, Ed? Come on.
I guess like a ½ inch. I don't know what an inch is. Will you ever get past this adolescent phase of Nintendo and Teletubbies and grow up and buy tools for your garage? It seems to be like a question that keeps coming back every stream.
You know what, Rick? I will gladly say I do both. I'm a very much a tools guy, garage guy, hard work guy. I actually have what I'm building right now is a fun box, which is for skateboarding. It's basically a grind box. I'm building that right now. That's my.
You want to see my leaf blower collection?
Oh, do you have one?
If it gets me more views, sure.
Mint?
Yeah, mint and sealed box.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to have gone away during like my late teenage years, and now I've just like it helps me relax so much being a kid again or collecting that I don't know. I think it's here to stay. the retro collecting thing.
That's fun.
Yeah. Where's Ricky, Aaron?
Ricky is the hardest person in the world to film with, which is funny because Ricky lives probably a good 1 minute away from me. But he is how do I say it? Ricky is my best friend in the world, but he's also the worst communicator in the world. He's like the kind of person that'll be like, hey, dude, like, should we film this weekend? I'll be like, all right, dude, let's do it. And then I'll send like 50 text messages through the next 3 days. And then he'll text me like the morning of that we're supposed to go and be like, wait, are we still going? And I'm like, bro, like, communicate with me, please.
And then you're in like Taco Bell for half an hour waiting for him.
I haven't had fast food in a long time. I've been intermittent fasting. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been doing that for a little over 9 months now straight. So
okay. Did you keto as well, or?
No, I don't do keto. I just only eat. I don't eat for 17 hours a day. So, and I eat at the other time, but it's cool because at first I did it to like lose a little weight, and I did. I lost like 20 pounds in like a month. But now I do it because I'm where I'm at. I can't lose any more weight. I'm 6 foot tall and I'm like 165 pounds. But I do it now because I eat whatever I want now. I maintain the same weight.
Yeah.
So, did you lose weight, by the way, Ed?
I think I've gained some now, but I did lose some.
Because I remember there was like a period of videos you put out where I specifically noticed that your face looked thinner.
Yeah, I want to get that back.
You got that COVID body now?
What?
You got that COVID body now?
Yeah, man, it's terrible. Not that I like exercise anyways, but yeah, just keto and intermittent fasting. Not drinking that much, even though like I think like this year has probably been my driest year so far. And like not playing shows because it's quite like we do like 2-hour shows. So it is quite a performance and you know, sweat dripping stuff. Yep. Yeah, I like I was gonna meet Greco and Narc in real life, so I thought I had to look good for that.
You know, you gotta oil up with me.
You're looking very svelte. I was very impressed when you walked off that airplane.
But you had that too, Greco. You went like from does he have like medical issues?
What, like me? Like, was that what people said about me?
When you did keto, like in the videos, because they're like a month apart, the videos back then. So it was like, what happened to this guy?
Yeah, no, because for me it happened quick. Because again, everybody got all wrapped up in keto and intermittent fasting, and I did both together.
Yeah,
and I think I lost like almost like 40 pounds in 6 weeks, which I don't know if that's healthy. So I'm definitely not recommending this by any means. But it worked. And then I was using intermittent fasting to just kind of keep things under wraps because I didn't want to do keto forever.
Yeah.
And it was able to maintain it, but this whole Corona thing just totally threw that out the windows. I might need another relapsing bit.
It's also a good time. I started out like in the, like everybody in the beginning, like, all right, in 6 months, let's just all come out from our caves and be fat and all this and that. But then I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So I kept intermittent fasting, and now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I tell people when I see them, like, all right, like I'm like always want to like give like a motivational speech. I'm like, I understand wearing a mask, being healthy, washing your hands. I'm like, but when this is over in a few months from now, that's not going to keep you healthy for the rest of your life. Like your health is going to be exercising and dieting and eating right. Like and I don't mean to offend anybody out there in the world. No offense to anybody, but like I'll talk to people with the job I do. They'll be like, I just really want to be healthy. So they're wearing their mask. And then I see them leave and they only pull down their mask to eat a Big Mac at McDonald's. And I'm like, you don't want to be healthy then. You want to think that you're being healthy and you want to do the least amount of work to make yourself think that you're healthy. I'm like, but you're not. Like, I get it. Wear the mask. You want to wear the mask? Wear the mask. Wash your hands. Do what you should be doing, everything you can. I'm like, but real health is going to be, the long term of health. And you're going to have better chances of living if you do get it, and do get sick, if you're healthy. So I always want people to be healthy, and that's just, I don't know. I'm probably one of the odd ones out in like the retro world. It's always talking about like fitness and that stuff. And I get some hate for it. But whatever.
Yeah, you're definitely a unicorn.
When I did the keto, I lost 10 kilos. Now I gained 2.
10 kilos is what? I'm sorry, correct me. And
I have no clue.
Yeah, man. Speak to your audience, okay? Stuff.
What's 10 kilos?
hey, Google.
10 kilos in what is the other metric form?
What is 10 kilos in America?
In pounds. you say pound. It's 22 pounds.
22 pounds.
In like 3 months, something like that. So still okay. Yeah. So I want to start again, but like being at home constantly, you kind of like go for the comfort food now.
Yeah.
So I'm doing like carbs again, which totally messes it all up. One thing about the keto though, I don't know if you've experienced it, that first month that you're doing it, it's like 2 weeks of really, the first 2 weeks really suck. But then there's like this moment where you're like thinking so clear, like it seems like your brain starts working again. Which is like a really cool experience, honestly.
I did feel smarter. I felt like I was winning more arguments with my wife when I was on keto because I was like just really coherent and just like bang, bang.
But it's a real thing. It's your body rewarding you for drinking water and eating right, not putting crap. It's like it can think better. It's running the way it should run. You know what I mean?
I actually think it's like because you don't consume sugar as much.
Yeah. And now's a good time to quit soda. I keep telling people that. I'm like, because we don't have the enjoyment. We don't have the luxury of sitting down in a restaurant and all this. It's like now if you're going to quit, now's the time to quit. Like,
definitely.
We're just chilling anyway. We don't get to sit in a restaurant and enjoy and conversation. You know, you're sitting in your car like I do on my lunch break, sit in my car alone and watching YouTube videos.
Yeah. So I guess this is going to be the last question.
Did you
before my voice gives out? What? Sorry?
Did you start smoking just now? Hey guys, hey, you want to comment?
No, I got allergies. Hay
fever.
Oh,
great! Now I'm making fun of you. Thanks.
No,
yeah,
it's all good. How do I get discovered when my videos are ideated by YouTube as made for kids? When we make kid friendly but not kid targeted content. I guess this also comes back to the COPPA thing. COPPA. Yep. COPPA. Yeah, I'll say like my videos aren't made for kids, but they are without curse words or at least like the least amount. I'll bleep them out when Matthias does do them on the channel. So yeah, like it depends. Are you making it for kids? Then you should be honest about it.
Well, he said it says that they're getting their videos are getting ID'd by YouTube as made for kids when they are kid friendly, but they're not targeted. So basically, it'd be like Ed. It'd be like as if you got started. If all of a sudden YouTube's like, all right, Ed, you're made for kid content, so you're not getting advertised or anything. But really, you're not. They're kid friendly, but they're not targeted. So this sucks because they're in a position where this is what you're going to have to do, Toy Box Treasures. You're just going to have to start out your video saying, "What's up, mother?" and just drop an F-bomb and then go on. You know?
Kids love that.
But no, in reality, Toy Box Treasure Hunters, anything that is anywhere related to kids is such a scary place to be in because I've talked about it before. I had kids channels and it's the most amount of money I've ever made on YouTube, but also the quickest I've ever been channel shut down. Anything with the kid stuff, they were just like, oh, you're an adult and there's a kid in your video. You're a creep. Video's gone. Whole channel's gone. Boom. Like that. And we were making money. We were making like real money, like I might quit my career job for this money. So,
but that's with the COPPA thing, right?
Yeah. No, this was before COPPA, dude. Way before that. This was just, I'm telling you, YouTube, again, we doing it where I do it. We have social media guys. We have marketing guys. Kids stuff in any way, shape, or form has always been an iffy place on YouTube in their mind. They've always struggled to know, can we advertise? Can we not advertise? Should we do this? Should adults be allowed? So they've always been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So it's like, it's almost at the point where it's like, you don't want to be not you, but it's almost like you almost want to put something in there to let YouTube know, like, this isn't for kids. Like, this is not a kid's thing. Like, it's almost like you got to let them know somehow, like, whether it's the thumbnails or in the title, not made for kids. I don't know what it is, because YouTube's always been iffy with kids stuff. And we've had probably in total like 6 kids channels, and one of them survived. And that's it out of the 6. And that's our Roblox channel.
Okay.
Good old Roblox.
Yeah, that channel has like 300,000 subscribers or something like that. So, and that was only in a few years. So yeah. But
okay, I think this is going to be the last question. I don't know if you guys want to keep going on or
I was checking my text to see where my wife is, because when she's like, as soon as she's like, I'm on my way home, I'll be like, oh yeah, I already got the kids in bed. Then I'm gonna run and go put them to bed.
Because it's like we reached that 1.5 hour mark.
Yeah, she's leaving soon anyway, so we can do another question.
Do you ever experience choice paralysis with playing your games?
What is choice paralysis?
I guess it's like you can't get yourself to pop in one game because you're tormented by having to choose. What I usually do when I do play games is like I'll grab a stack of NES games and just put it next to the console and start plugging them in, playing them, and just like find out like what these games are, because that's what I like. My first memory of playing NES was my aunt having like a giant box. We had like 40 NES games, and it was just like every Wednesday afternoon going over there and just grabbing games out of that box and trying them out for the first time. And it's still something I love doing. So that helps me, because I'm not really going like, oh, I'm going to play Metroid or I'm going to play that one.
Like going to play a specific,
yeah. Unless I really feel like that. So I guess that helps with the choice paralysis.
I was gonna say, for me, it's and I've kind of been in a funk lately with playing video games where I'm not like super passionate about doing one or the other. I feel like I'm most motivated if it's some kind of like online co-op kind of game, something where I'm playing with other people, and then we can kind of like drive each other to hop on. And so for me, I just have to be in the right mindset for a certain type of game, and like I haven't really been playing single player games, honestly. So I've really been driven by like, so I only got an Xbox One this past Christmas. I had a PS4 before that and a Switch. So right now I'm kind of catching up on some of the games that have been out for a while, like the Gears of War games. Like that was something my brother and I played. Like that was like our thing. Like especially when we moved apart and grew up as adults. Like we would still have that to kind of like play online co-op together. So that's what we've been doing recently. Like I finally got him to get an Xbox One, so we just beat Gears 4, and now we're moving on to Gears 5. So that's definitely driving me and helping me get through maybe that kind of momentary like I don't know what I want to play, and I don't know if I feel like it. And then on top of that, it's just I've mentioned a few times that I've been playing Phantasy Star Online too. When that again, my uncle plays that, my brother. So as long as like that's kind of what's making the decisions for me. But there's still not a single player game right now that I'm like, I guess I'm still paralyzed from that.
Got it. Yeah, for me, I kind of do what Ed does, but with kind of Xbox Game Pass. I always feel like that's the most bang for your buck right now in the next gen world, in the newer gen. You basically get a monthly catalog of rotating between like 130 games or so. So I kind of I go in at a time. I have a very big external hard drive on my Xbox One. I have Xbox One X, and I have like a 10 terabyte external hard drive. So I just randomly will download 3 games that I don't know what they are. I've never seen it. I don't know what they are. Download. And then when they're done at the end of the night, when I go to play, I'm like, not even going to watch the trailer, not going to peek at it, not going to see what it is. Just pop it in. And, I'd say 1 out of the 3, I'm all usually like, okay. I played one yesterday. I don't even remember what it's called, but it's almost like an open world top-down RPG alleyway, like Breakaway, where you're like a guy with a sword wandering through the forest, and like you're breaking bricks with your sword and bouncing blocks back and forth. But it's like it's beautiful, and I was like, I was not expecting this, and I wouldn't have found this if I wasn't just goofing around downloading games. So, yeah. I like that. And it's funny, Ed, that you said that, by the way. I had to jump in. That's how I normally play my NES games. I just grab at will. I'm like, okay, and I put it in.
I guess like what I hear often is like you would go to a video game rental store and have to pick like from the box.
Oh,
obviously. Yeah. And that's like the same thing, like just, go with what looks cool or what catches your interest, I guess. Yeah. Favorite snacks and memories as a youngster on weekend stayovers. Pizza for me. I know a few guys.
Gushers.
Yeah. That seems to be like a way bigger thing, like in America, like having certain snacks be like associated with gaming.
Gushers and Capri Sun. Did you guys have Capri Sun?
Yeah, the little juice boxes.
Absolutely.
We have them on our rider.
We should be talking about this because right now is not my time where I can eat. So I'm like, oh gosh, I'm hungry now just talking about it. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, guys.
Thanks everyone who came to watch and say hello. I know we couldn't answer everybody, but I'm glad we got a chit chat, kind of poked around in the comment section the whole time,
Definitely. Yeah, this was awesome. So yeah, Riff, thanks so much for being part of this podcast.
Yeah.
Live from the Attic live stream. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Narc in, but we did have Greco. The Grec was here, so
I tried to carry. Yeah, I tried to carry the load.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, and definitely I want to thank everybody who was in the live chat, who was watching this. Everybody who's watching it later on as well. Thanks so much for tuning in. And yeah, usually we kind of like end with what we have going on next week content wise. So maybe Greco wants to go first.
Yeah, apparently I've been peer pressured into releasing a live hunting video. So yeah, I guess that could be coming. Sure. I mean, I did kind of make a declaration in my last video that I put out today that I'm going to try to have a more weekly cadence. So I guess I should stick to it because it's only been hours since I've made that promise.
Wow.
So I should probably try to be a man of my word. So look for that.
Yeah. How about you, Riff? What you got coming up?
I made more like a retrospective video on. I've talked about Super Mario Brothers 2 in the past of why, like what the game is, and how I enjoy it. But I put together more a retrospective of how it really. I kind of went into detail of how it changed the way video games, what they are for me, the way I perceive video games. It's kind of more of a detailed, structured video as like how this video game is the reason I am the collector I am today. It's the reason that I am nostalgic about the 90s. It kind of created who I am to this day as far as this world. And other cool news for me next week, I don't know what day, but I am finally in a completionist video. Like I'm in the entire video with Gerard on his channel. He's been in my channel many times and he's always like, I've always wanted to get you in a completionist video. So we finally did one together and it'll be out sometime next week. So that's cool for me. I'm excited. Even though he's a good friend now, it's still like a little bucket list check mark for me.
Yeah, but his channel is awesome.
Really good channel. He's one of the guys that we talked about earlier that loves the community, still has a passion for gaming. He still does the same format he did when he first started.
Yeah.
He refuses to change, even though, and he's told me this, even though he knows that reaction videos or trending videos or even Fortnite at the time, he's like, I'm not doing this stuff because it's popular. He's like, I'm going to keep doing what I love and why I did this in the first place. And that's why I respect him so much.
I do miss Greg, but he was on your show.
You want to know episodes. You know what's crazy about that, bro? We went game hunting with Greg and Gerard on our channel and we made an NesPursuit with them in it. I put out that video in the morning and I get a phone call at like 8 a.m. The video went out at like 6 a.m. and it's Greg. He's like, don't put out the video. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, do not put out the video. And I'm like, what's happening? Then I get a text from Gerard. Don't put out that video. And I'm like, the video's out. What's happening? And I'm not going to go into detail of everything, but he's like,
yeah, okay.
This is done. Like, we're not a thing anymore. And I was like, like so. But he told us to leave. They both told me just leave the video up then because it already went up. And that day was like his audience was all coming over like, what happened? What do you know? Like they're in the they broke up today on Twitter, but they're in your video today, all happy as can be, you know. So it was one of those things. But I will go on the record and say, love them both. Even knowing all the ins and outs of everything, no hard feelings for that. Gerard's an amazing dude. Greg's an amazing dude. Love them both. So
does Greg still have a channel or anything?
He was into the music scene for a while. He talked to a lot of people in the music world. And he did a lot with that, and he's done some other stuff. He also popped in, I think, a couple Warp Zone videos, which is a YouTube channel as well. So I'm not exactly sure what he's doing now. I'll be honest, I haven't kept as close as to Greg as I talk to Gerard probably 3 times a week about stuff. So, but otherwise, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but yeah, awesome stuff coming out. So I'm gonna be working on probably a NECA turtle pickup video. That's going to be easy to do by tomorrow because we're already Sunday over here. And somewhere next week, I will also have a like a top 10 or top 5 unproduced toys that we should have gotten from the vintage toy lines, which has been really fun doing all the research, but it's also it needs a lot of scripting and stuff, a lot of work. But
and then if it doesn't get the views, you're like, my time.
I don't know. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be one of those videos. I think, like NES Complex says, people 5 years from now will still have like
you can watch it anytime.
Yeah, you can watch it anytime.
Watch it 100 years from now.
It's history. So
when you're going to document what happened in the early 2000s, what were people talking about? Your video is going to come up about what was happening, you know, in toys in this time in the world. So,
okay. All right. So yeah. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. We're going to end the stream now. We'll probably talk a bit more in the backstage area. But for now, it's going to be it. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. And yeah, sub to everybody's channel. Definitely leave a like on the video. And we will see you in the next video. See you later, guys.
Bye, friends.